Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to Sharin no Kuni, Himawari no Shoujo. Should probably add that at the end because there's actually another game that has the same name, Sharin no Kuni. I'm not gonna say if it's a sequel or prequel because it's probably like quite a big thing, I suppose, towards what it is. Yeah, I just woke up maybe 2 hours ago, took a shower, ate some breakfast, and now I'm here. I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna be playing quite a bit today for this game. I've been mostly playing like 2 hours, an hour and 30 minutes every day, or at least from the start that I started this game. I feel like I can do a bit more today since it's a weekend. I'm also planning to rewatch Code Geass. It's one of my favorite animes of all time. I haven't been watching anime, but I watch like nice, like you know, just the popular ones, I guess you can say. I've been sort of watching Re:Zero and Oregairu 3. But that's a topic for something else, I suppose. Now let's continue on with Sharin no Kuni. Last time I left off at where the Amnesty Festival ended. I think that was a pretty good ending spot. Because, to my knowledge, I think we're almost at the end of Chapter 1. There we go. An unfamiliar ceiling met my eyes when I regained consciousness. Ugh. My upper body was burning up inside. I raised myself upward and took a glance around the room. The pain could wait. My first impression was that the room was quite tidy. A single table sat in the middle of the room, with nary a mote of dust in sight. A plant basked in the sunlight streaming in from the window. The sky outside was so clear that yesterday's rain felt like a lie. Light was streaming in at an angle which suggested it was around noon. Is this Natsumi's room? She must have been looking after me while I was unconscious. Someone entered the room.
Okita?
Was everything okay, Sachi? The fact that they had violated their obligations made me apprehensive.
私たちは平気。お咎めなしだって。
I see. Thank goodness. Really?
ごめんね。私。
Yesterday's tears stained One's face.
森健。本当にごめん。私のわがままで。
Her desire to see the stars must have been nearly tangible. No, it was my mistake. I'd forgotten that I came to this town for an exam.
でも、私のせいで。
I cut through her uncertain words. Could you patch me up, Sachi?
そうだよ。磯野くんがこの部屋に運んでくれて。
I see. Thank you. This injury would take around 2 weeks to recover from. It was fortuitous. Fortuitous? Time to Google. Lucky chance, okay. Fortunate. Fortuitous that I had been cared for with such haste. Is it lunch break now?
学園を抜け出してきたの。
Are you sure you should be doing that? What about Nachan?
一緒に来るはずだったんだけど、いきなりあの怖い人に。
Oh, sorry. Pops, huh? White-hot suffering surged beneath my bandages at the mention of his name. His aim had been to cause as much pain as possible while avoiding any damage to vital areas.
あいつ、何なの?
So he spooks even the energetic type. I laughed.
ビビったよ。超ビビった。あいつ、絶対人殺したことあるって。
And so the energy began.
前の高等人の人とは全然雰囲気違う。なんていうか。
Yeah?
めね。
I guess she couldn't find anything to compare him with. Did he give you any new guidance?
ね、新しくバッジをくれたよ。張り替えろって。
That's it? He didn't say anything about being under my supervision from now on?
いや、
One shook her head as well. I see. Did this mean that I failed the examination? Fuck! Everything I had done up until now had been meaningless.
森健？
Sorry. Just massaging my face. Yeah, it was still too early to jump to conclusions. Alright guys, get your asses back to school. They both nodded as I waved my hand at them.
じゃあ、本当にごめんね。ちょくちょく様子見に来るから。
They exited the room with a hint of reluctance. Now it was just the futon and myself. I was worried about Natsumi. Drowsiness assailed me. I'm the kind of guy who will suffocate without activity. Just like my bro. But it was probably best not to move around just yet. If only you could talk to me. So bored. Guess I'll get my pipe. Well, I can't just smoke in Natsumi's room though. Suddenly, the door opened, bringing with it a glimmer of Natsumi's hair. Welcome back.
森田くん。
She approached me. Na-chan, I was so bored that I was about to die. I spun my hands around in the air like a child.
そうですか。
An expression of concern flitted across her face. I'm fine health-wise.
よかったです。さっちゃんたちも心配してました。
So, Old Man Hozuki called for you.
そのことなんですけど。
Natsumi took a deep breath and began to speak.
私、森田くんの保護観察を受けることになりました。
Which means, my exam is still in progress. I heave a sigh of relief. Will I be supervising One and Sachi as well?
いえ、私だけみたいです。
It seemed that he had judged that 3 people would be too much of a burden on me right off the bat. Did Old Man Hozuki also instruct you to carry me here?
そうです。これから一緒に暮らすようにと。
I see. I'd be alone together with a girl, eh?
どうかしましたか？
Nah. I've lived with Sachi already, so this is no problem.
え？
Don't worry about it. Anyway, well, it's kinda rude to do this while sitting down, but... I looked straight at Natsumi. Hinata Natsumi, you will be under my supervision henceforth. I offered her my own personal recitation of those words, which had been drilled into my head. I, Morita Kenichi, acting in the capacity of a special high-class individual, will hereby hold your human rights in the highest esteem and aim your rehabilitation into society to the best of my ability. However, if a situation arises where I deem that you are acting with negligence regarding your obligation, I reserve the right to temporarily revoke your human rights. I will then employ any means necessary, up to and including corporal punishment, to steer you back onto the path of righteousness. Now, regarding the details of your obligation, in addition to those established by the Grand Court, I'm authorized to provide supplementary restrictions at my own discretion. Furthermore, I'm tasked with the supervision of any new rules I personally establish. Lastly, if I decide that you have demonstrated a sincere adherence to the guidelines established by your obligation, coupled with meaningful reflection upon your actions, as well as a dedicated commitment to rehabilitation, I will immediately file a claim with the Grand Court, calling for the dismissal of your obligation. That is all. Do you have any questions pertaining to this matter? Jeez, how formal.
はい。
She probably didn't really understand. Don't stress out over it. I was just giving you the standard disclaimer. Kind of like reading the Miranda rights, you know?
あ には黙秘権があるっていう。
Eh? In other words, just continue living the way you were, without touching men.
この義務は森田くんが認めてくれさえすれば無効になるんですか？
Right. It all depends on me.
じゃあひょっとして明日にでも私は自由になってしまったり。
For some reason, she seemed quite fearful of such a prospect. Wouldn't people normally look forward to what she was suggesting? Let me see. Oh well, many prisoners are, in fact, ill at ease outside of prison. The report I'd have to file is pretty long and detailed, so tomorrow would probably be impossible. Plus, they have to check up on what sort of stuff you were up to while under my supervision. It's a pretty thorough investigation, to tell you the truth. Though I hear that proposals from well-regarded high-class individuals, like Pops, are generally accepted without much scrutiny.
そうですか。
Relief washed across her face for reasons unbeknownst to me. Anyway, there you have it.
はい、森田さん。
You can call me Kenichi.
いえ、これでいいんです。けじめはつけないといけませんから。名前を呼ぶというのは仲良くなるということですし。
So you dislike me after all?
いえ、それは。
Apparently she did.
でも会った時ほどでは。ええ、昨日は楽しかったですし、さっちゃんと大根さんをかばってくれましたし。
The usual flustered attitude. Alright, let's just take it easy for now, okay? I proffered my hand for a handshake. Since I was the high-class individual in charge of Natsumi, I could refrain from personal recognition of her obligation, to a certain degree. However, Natsumi chose to space out rather than accept my gesture. She stared at my hand like she was trying to bore a hole into it. You don't want to shake hands?
ごめんなさい。気を悪くしないで。
She hated me more than I thought. It's fine. I had a pushpin hidden in my palm anyway. Anyway, I know that it's not right to touch you without a good reason, but I figured that maybe a handshake would be fine. The situation had taken a turn for the awkward. Nachan, how about dinner?
今から作りますね。
Please do.
森田さんは休んでいてください。
Natsumi walked into the kitchen. I soon heard the sound of the faucet running. Looked like she was washing off the rice. Ah, I forgot. The severity of the matter had prompted an unintentional focalization. I hadn't seen Natsumi's records. The reasoning behind her obligation should have been located in her records, alongside her personality assessment. Details of her family structure, descriptions of her hobbies, and so forth. Pop should have hacked them, right? Nachan, I'm going out for a bit.
はい。
My bones creaked in unpleasant ways as I rose from my seat. It felt kind of strange heading to school during the evening. Dizziness assaulted me as I ascended the stairs. I took it slowly since my shoulder was still in bad shape. Pop should have been in the same room as yesterday. I knocked on the door to the special guidance room, but it did not receive a response. Sir, it's Morita. Looked like he was out.
森田くん。
Ah, Yoko-san, do you know where Old Man Hozuki is?
とっつぁんって。昨日ひどい目にあったのによくそんな態度でいられるわね。
Did you hear about it from Toka? She looked at my upper body with concern. That was just a performance.
パフォーマンス？
I've been assigned to Natsumi from now on. I think I'll be assigned to Sachi and One eventually as well. Those three are feeling quite sorry for me after the event yesterday. They've been given the impression that if they are to disobey me, I will be met with such cruelty again. As such, my supervision should proceed more smoothly. Pop sure had some unnecessary tricks up his sleeve.
そう。
She seemed reluctant to hear any more. Her appearance suggested to me that she was unaware of Old Man Hosuke's whereabouts. But yeah, Kenichi is really fast on the uptake. So he knows yesterday about what happened was basically just to make girls with obligations to be very subservient, I guess, to Kenichi. Like what he said, he wants them to remember the sincerity of their apology. Which reminds me, summer vacation starts tomorrow.
ええ、長い休暇になるわ。
So we won't be seeing each other again for a while.
どうかにもよろしく伝えておくわ。
I'll come hang out with her if I have some free time.
強盗人は普段から事故の鍛錬を忘れないって聞いてるけど。
True enough, I should focus on passing the exam while I'm supervising Natsumi.
そうなの？あなたは全ての試験を通過していると聞いたけれど。
No, there's one that I can't pass no matter how many times I take it. I have to earn extra units in other areas to make up for it.
ひょっとして女性関係？
No, I passed that with flying colors, thanks to my irresistible sexual charm, whatever, Kenichi. That exam had involved stuff like calling out women on the street and getting them to divulge 10 pieces of personal information in 5 minutes or less. I have to admit that it was pretty embarrassing at first.
じゃあ何ができなかったの？
She seemed quite interested. It's a secret.
あら、もったいぶって。
Well then, goodbye. Give my best regards to Toka.
またね。
I decided to escape before she had the chance to ask any more questions. I doubted I would be able to find Pops just by looking around. I had spent 7 years with him, but had not been granted the slightest insight into his personal life. I wonder where he was living at the moment. Guess I'll go back.
森田くんじゃないか。
That voice could only belong to one person, and sure enough, there he was when I turned around.
森田くん、サチさんから事情は聞いたよ。
A true sense of concern shone through his words.
死ねばよかったのに。
Or not. By the way, were you able to avoid being punished?
私は平気だよ。
Little old me.
え？
What the hell kind of dialect are you using? Probably because he said, Atashi, which is more feminine pronunciation for, you know, me. Usually girls use them, basically.
言ってないって。僕は僕だよ。気にするなって。全部ネタだから。
I think it would be best if you were to receive a psychiatric evaluation.
受けたよ。昔ね。
I'm going to assume that that is a joke as well.
どうかな。
This guy was a walking Area 51.
僕といると落ち着かないかい？
That'd be it. I did not hesitate to speak my mind.
君みたいに社会の枠にとらわれている人には僕は測れないよ。
In other words, you're saying that you're a free man, and the rest of us are just being taken for a ride by the powers that be.
いや、自由という言葉すら言語という枠にとらわれているね。
Shut up, dude. Then just what the hell are you talking about?
妖精の世界の言葉では自由というのはチョメスというんだ。
Huh?
知りたくないかい？妖精言語。
Not particularly.
例えば学園はキリリクというんだ。
Huh.
地面はサバッチ、太陽はモソモソ、女の子はガール。
He said girl, not chicha. Wasn't that last one Spanish? No, probably supposed to be English, but you know, localization and such.
夏はサンサン、自転車はブルブル、天国はホイホーイ。どうだい？もっと知りたくなってきただろ？
At this point, I had completely lost track of where this conversation was headed. Regardless, Isono seemed eager to press onward. Perhaps he was trying to use this fairy language thing as some sort of an analogy. Perhaps he was a sage deigning to impart some great wisdom onto a skeptical heathen, such as myself. Then how do you say society?
社会は社会ですが。
Hey!
森田くんは面白いな。
Or rather, he was just fucking with me. I'm leaving. Summer vacation starts tomorrow, so I don't think we'll see each other for a while. Take care of yourself.
ああ、森田くん。
What? Suddenly, a lavish, dramatic scene spread out before me. Isona stood with his back to the sunset, his features glistening in the fading light.
その包帯決まってるよ。
Make that a lavish, suspicious scene. That is fucking disgusting. Goodbye.
ああ、森田くん。
What?
俺たちっていい友達だよな。
Sure. I turn away from Misono.
森田くん。
What the hell do you want this time?
青春は何もかもが実験だぜ。
Ignoring him was probably the best option for all parties involved.
また明日学園でな。
We're on summer break, damn it. What a crazy guy. In the end, I returned without having found Pops or having obtained Natsumi's records. I didn't see Natsumi anywhere. Where did she go? Gruel lay deserted upon the table. It didn't look like she had left a message for me either. It would be dark soon. I couldn't neglect Natsumi while performing my job. I searched the room for a clue as to Natsumi's whereabouts. The window was open. The closet door was closed. Her school shoes were properly arranged. Same as it was when I woke up. Idle thoughts would accomplish nothing. I left the room. I would ask Sachi about Natsumi, or so I had planned. When I arrived in front of her room, I noticed that it was already past 7. Mana showed up at the door.
Ha! Keiichi!
Yo, Mana. Off to work?
そうだよ。ケンイチは
Do you know Natsumi? She's a girl wearing a yellow ribbon and uniform. Mana gave a slight nod.
スーパーで見るときあるよ。
The possibility that she was out shopping arose. Checking the supermarket seemed to be my best option.
ケンイチ、包帯どうしたの
Ah, they're just a bit of a fashion statement.
ファッション
Yeah. Well, it really only works when those dark and gloomy loner girls wear them. That is pretty moe, I have to say. Shut the fuck up, dude.
怪我したんじゃないんだね。
Oh, the injury is also part of the fashion statement. But don't try this at home, Mana.
わかった
For some reason, I got the feeling that I had assumed the role of a teacher who taught only lies. Alright, let's go. Come to think of it, did you ever receive your wages? I believe she said that she should have received them yesterday.
店長さんがね、月払いにしてくれって。
What?
そしたらもっとたくさんお金あげるって。紙にね、ハンコがなかったからね、サインしたんだよ。
Signed, eh? I see. Could you please call the manager out here for me?
いいよ
Mana ran off into the supermarket. I took my pipe out and stuck it in my mouth. I ended up taking about a 5-minute smoke while I was waiting.
連れてきたよ
A middle-aged man wearing an apron appeared. His face was swollen with age and obesity. There we go. He wrinkled his brow at me in displeasure.
なんだね君は。
I became convinced once I got a good look at his muddy pupils. Mana, go on to work.
いいの
I'm going to have a private conversation with this man. Mana alternated her view between the manager and me for a while, then trotted off into the store.
なんのよ。まだ仕事中なんだが。
I put out my pipe and, quite deliberately, waited for a moment before looking down at the man. I'm Morita Kenichi, a special high-class individual cadet.
特別高等に
His thought process was probably along the lines of, what? It's runt. My superior is Hosuke Masaomi. If you ask around, you will receive confirmation of this.
はあ。 それで私に何のご用でしょうか。
His demeanor became both panicked and humble in an instant. This guy was a damn cliche. I'd like to ask you about the girl from earlier. She's from a foreign country, yes?
はい、
How well does she perform her job?
そうですね。真面目に店内の掃除を頑張っていますが。
Really? I held out both of my hands. I participated in the Southern War, so I fought alongside people of her race. Now, let me tell you, they're all quite foul. They don't work. They lie all the time, and above all, they smell like shit.
はあ、わかります。実を言うとあの子は言葉も不慣れだし、簡単な計算も間違える始末でして。
Sounds rough. They are born with smaller brains after all.
なかなかに厳しいことをおっしゃる。
You're making her work without compensation, of course.
それは。
There's nothing to worry about. You're treated like slaves everywhere except here. A vulgar smile spread across his face.
そうですよね。ええ、私もそう思ってたんですよ。
However, there's the matter of employment contracts.
それなんですがね。あのバカ娘は戸籍もないらしくて、ハンコも持っていないんですよ。
That sure is convenient. In other words, you are not obligated to pay her.
拙い字でサインされた書類はありますが、そもそも戸籍がないわけで。
Nice work. Really, people like this make me laugh. Although I do have to wonder why there is no law designed to manage such filth. I erupted in laughter. Apparently, he caught on to the fact that my behavior was a bit abnormal. His smile started looking more and more forced. Now listen here. I drew a step closer to the man. We live in an unfair society. There are people who bring great unhappiness onto others. Of course, that is not a crime in and of itself. True.
え、
There are people who tell lies, deceive others, place themselves on a pedestal, and run away, abandoning their friends. I'm one of them, of course. I'm the same kind of bastard as you. So I don't really have the right to lecture you about this. But, do you know what happens when you put a group of rabbits into a cage and leave them to their own devices? He faltered backwards. The weak rabbits start to bully those weaker than themselves. It's quite a deplorable state of affairs. They pluck their fur off, chew on their ears, some pretty violent stuff. You understand? I feel the same way about you right now. Pay her, immediately. I drove my words into the man's very flesh. If someone is working hard, you pay them for their efforts. At least, that is what a good, honest human being would do. As long as you behave like a human being instead of a rabbit, I'll leave you in peace.
わかりました。
A sear of remorse poured forth from his despicable grimace. I sighed and loosened my expression. I'll believe you. I could just ask Mana about it tomorrow. However, this man was certainly of the type receptive to physical threats, so I did not expect any problems. Well then, I leave Mana in your care. The man waved goodbye and fled from me through the automatic doors. It was now time to head inside and begin my search for Natsumi. She wasn't here. I could say that was a pretty deplorable tactic, but you know, when you're with someone vulgar, when you talk vulgar the same way as them, they're probably more inclined to open up, right? So, even though it was like, it seemed like he was being bad, but, and I guess because Kenichi isn't exactly a good guy, it's kind of believable that that's exactly what you thought that he would think. I decided to return home for the time being. The lights were on. She must have come back. Then again, this is also probably a tactic by the author to make it so that Kenichi is likable, you know? Like this douche of a human is actually having some sort of sympathy towards Mana. Nachan, where did you go? I questioned her as soon as my foot was in the door.
おかえりなさい。
Yeah, I'm back. Where did you go?
何がですか？
Her eyelids began to droop. You went somewhere while I was at school, right?
は
I'm your supervisor now, you know?
あ、は
I have to be with you at all times during this stage.
あ、は
Once I get a handle on your day-to-day activities, you can operate independently to some extent. However, until then, I want you to stay within range of me.
あ、ええ、ええ、
You understand?
何がですか？
Her face was blank. Are you listening to me?
誰がですか？
Okay, now you're just joking around, right?
すみません。さっきまでぼーっとしていたので。
The object at Natsumi's feet suddenly caught my attention. A white flower was peeking out of a rolled up newspaper. So you went shopping. I guess we had just missed each other at the supermarket. That flower?
えっと、
Is it an offering for someone?
ですね。
That smile was very forced. Looked like she didn't want to tell me what was up. May I ask you something? My job involved asking questions. To whom are you offering this flower?
それは言わなきゃいけませんか？
It is imperative that I get to know you if you ever wish to be free.
言いたくないです。
As a high-class individual, I possess the authority to order her to answer. However, doing things like that just wasn't my style. That's fine, but instead, I have a request for you, alright?
はあ、どんなことでしょう？
Well, this is my job after all, so... I was just putting on airs. Apology made itself known around the corners of Natsumi's pursed lips. She must have recalled the events of yesterday. Like I said before, I'd appreciate it if I could remain close to you during your daily activities.
はあ、それだけで？
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna follow you into the bathroom or anything.
わかりました。
Well, now that we had that cleared up, that flower would shrivel up and die if it were left like that for more than a day or so. Based on this, I could conclude that Natsumi would be offering it to someone tomorrow. If I remained by her side, I would arrive at the site of a grave, and then I would be able to ask the townspeople about that grave. Well then, shall we have dinner?
ええ、
The evening wore on, drenched in an atmosphere of awkwardness all the while. I see that typo. It was unusually humid for summer. Natsumi was sleeping on a separate futon. I painstakingly laid my aching body to rest, my injuries aggravated by the heat. If I remember correctly, it was pretty humid back then too. 7 years ago. The largest rebellion of the post-war period had taken place, initiated by a revolutionary named Higuchi Saburo. Dissatisfied with the current special high-class law, insurgents took up arms one by one. The rebellion gained backing from foreign powers, and eventually developed to the point that the government grew wary of a coup d'etat. The revolutionaries even went so far as to surround the president's private residence. However, eventually the efforts of the military and security forces proved effective in quashing the rebellion. Higuchi Saburo was reported as a bomb casualty, and as per the involvement clause, his family members all received the maximum penalty. One of the reasons I like Japan is that they do not visit the sins of the fathers upon the sons. Though they do tend to be bullied at school and looked at more harshly by others. Even so, Japan's method is an honest one. I've always thought so. And it is at odds with our current special high-class law, a system in which criminals are burdened with custom-made obligations, and a high-class individual guides them on the road to rehabilitation. However, the process of becoming a high-class individual is so difficult that it has been nicknamed the Sage's Exam. In other words, our judicial system is woefully short on manpower. However, lowering our standards remains impermissible, Or, if we were to appoint a lesser human to the position of special high-class individual, their guidance would surely result in an inadequate rehabilitation. And as a result, our society has come to really rely heavily upon the concept of deterrence. Well, there are numerous obligations to which the involvement clause does not apply. I sighed. Do not commit a crime. If you do, your family will pay the price. Is that it? Ideal education through ideal punishment, my ass. Right, One-chan? I hear someone actually opening the door, Kenichi. How could you not realize that? I awoke early in the morning. I had managed to catch that elusive moment between the appearance of the sun and the crowing of the rooster. Natsumi was still asleep. I tried stretching my shoulder. Ugh! It still hurt. Huh? Natsumi suddenly pushed her futon away. Yo, good morning. Nachan? Natsumi ignored me and slowly stood up. She was looking in my direction. Eh? What's the matter? She approached. Hey, Nachan, don't come any closer. While acting as a special high-class individual, I possess the right to lay my hands on her if I deem it necessary. However, if she were the one to initiate the contact, it could only be seen as a violation of her obligation. Nachan, I clapped right in front of her face. She dropped like a sack of bricks. Power had fled from her waist. Nachan, are you awake?
ともともです。
You're not a morning person, I guess.
変なこと言ってませんでしたか？
She hadn't said anything strange per se. Well, you just surprised me a bit.
じゃあ何かおかしなことを口走ってました？
Kinda. Sorry. Sleep talk acts as a reflection of one's inner psyche. I wanted to get to know her better. I never thought you would have a secret like that. I tried leading her on.
ギャフンとか言ってました？
Gafun?
そのことじゃないんですか？
Oh yeah, that's what you said. Gafun.
言わないですよね。現実ではギャフンなんて。
If one were to examine the situation from a Jungian perspective, he or she would come to the conclusion that Natsumi was dissatisfied with reality in some way, leading her to construct a vocabulary of her own. Gafun, eh? Gafun. No clue. Anyway, you're up pretty early, yeah?
散歩に出かけるんです。
You take walks around the area where we met by any chance? I was talking about the sunflower field at the entrance of the town, of course.
よくわかりますね。あの辺が一番気持ちいいんですよ。
What about lunch?
帰ってきてからで。
Alright then, let's go.
森田さんも来るんですか？
We discussed this yesterday, remember? The fact that I would monitor her activities.
そうですね。
She seemed none too pleased.
わかりました。
Luminous played at the corners of her face. Gafun.
やめてください。恥ずかしいです。
Let's go.
ええ。
The awkward atmosphere from last night persisted. Natsumi left without the white flower. It seemed we would not be heading to the grave just yet. So this was just an ordinary stroll through the sunflowers. Hey, Nachan.
はい。
I thought you were going for a walk. Why aren't you, walking?
ああ、今は日向ぼっこの時間でして。
Time to space out too?
もちろん。
I unconsciously threw out my chest. You know, I'm the kind of guy who can't stand being alone. So it's pretty hard on me if you spend all of your time spacing out.
それは
I'm always talking to myself, right?
ええ
So please, keep me in mind.
何がですか？
Nachan, are you listening to me?
誰がですか？
Seriously, you're just messing around, aren't you?
ごめんなさい。ぼーっとしてて。
My efforts were to no avail. You're looking quite a ways off, aren't you? Her gaze fell upon the road lined with sunflowers leading out of town. You don't want to leave town, do you?
ええ
It was as if she were waiting for someone. You're waiting for your boyfriend, aren't you?
です。
For real?
何がですか？
Come on.
ごめんなさい。どうしようもなく、ぼーっとしてしまって。
You're gonna collapse again if you don't pay attention, you know.
夏は嫌ですね。暑いですし。
So when can we resume our walk?
そのうちに。
And so I decided to space out as well. Our walk had drawn to an end, and man, Natsume really doesn't have a lot of hobbies, does she? We had ended up wandering around until past noon. At the moment, the palpable silence spreading throughout the apartment was boring me to tears. I'm gonna go visit Sachi.
はい。お昼ご飯作ってますね。
Perhaps Mana had already returned. I arrived at Sachi's apartment.
はい。
Sachi greeted me immediately. Good morning. Are you enjoying your summer vacation?
別に。
She was in a funk for some reason. Is Mana here?
珍しく起きてるけど。
Can you call her out here?
なんか用？
Something like that. Sachi closed the door without a word. Mana arrived after a short wait.
ケイジ、聞いて。
Mana was in high spirits, in contrast to Sachi.
昨日お給料もらったよ。
Oh, is that so? That's good. I received the confirmation I had been looking for. See ya.
何しに来たの？
I just wanted to express my gratitude for you guys. I mean, you let me stay here until now.
引っ越したの？
I'll be just down the hall, in a friend's room.
たまに遊びに行ってもいい？
Of course.
今まで泊めてもらったお礼？
Yeah, thanks a lot.
別に礼なんていいよ。
I know, you were probably planning to use me for your own twisted devices.
さすが森健、察しのいいことで。
Just say the word. Nothing is impossible for me after all.
森健の怪我が治ったらね。
I'll be staying in Natsumi's room for a while. If anything comes up, don't hesitate to come by.
じゃあね。
I saw something funny as I was returning to Natsumi's room. It was Natsumi, leaving without me. Furthermore, she was pressing the newspaper containing the white flower to her chest. I hid beneath the staircase and watched her go by. Natsumi hurried to the exit of the building. To a third party, both of our actions must have appeared quite suspicious. In any case, I needed to follow her. Seriously, does she hate me that much? Natsumi's pace slackened as soon as she got outside. I removed the bandage from my head and took a pair of glasses and a tube of hair gel out of my case. Fucking anime, dude. I put on the glasses and swept back my hair while in the midst of my pursuit. I also donned a light cardigan. I put my hands in my pockets and slouched like a hoodlum, in contrast to my usually upright gait. I concentrated my gaze upon Natsumi's ankles in order to avoid eye contact should she turn around. Now, where exactly was she going to take me? Surreptitious... Oh my god, what is that? Okay, in a way to avoid notice or attention. Okay, secretive, basically. Surreptitious maneuvers proved difficult in such an open area. We had gone pretty far already. It seemed that we were heading to the very outskirts of town. Natsumi silently continued on her way, without even the slightest hesitation. In other words, she was in quite the hurry. We had arrived at Mount Morita. The hum of cicadas and scent of dirt filled my head. The magnificent canopy spreading out above us dampened the light of the sun. Natsumi had yet to falter. We had been walking for nearly 2 hours now. It'd be great if we could arrive at our destination before the sun set. I've been trailing Natsumi for 4 hours now. Jesus, that's a long time. I mean, we are at the mountains, I guess. By the time she finally stopped walking, crimson was frolicking in the air around us, highlighting every last nook and cranny of the mountain. Nachan. I finally called out to her. It's me. I removed the glasses. What are you doing this far out?
Morita-san こそ
She was worn out from all the climbing we had done, and my wound was aching like a bitch. Sorry, I was just doing a little bit of stalking.
ひどいです
I could say the same to you. What were you doing, waiting until I was out like that?
そんなことないですたまたまです
Please, stop lying to me. It was breaking my heart. You ran until you were out of the dorm, then slowed down to a walk. This can mean nothing except the fact that you were wary of my return from Sachi's room. A disagreeable expression began to creep across her face.
ごめんなさい
No, it's fine. I apologize for speaking so harshly. I told you to remain near me yesterday, didn't I? I won't ask you any questions. You can do whatever you please. This was cruel even for me. Natsumi desired solitude above all else. If you cannot accept this, no matter what, I suppose I can return by myself. I see. I gave up and started to turn around, but just then... Natsumi placed the white flower, already beginning to wilt, on the ground. Upon closer examination, I discovered a knee-high wooden stake protruding from the ground, where she had laid the flower. Was this the grave I had sought?
森田さんは好きな人がいますか
Natsumi's hair and ribbon danced a duet within the mountain wind.
これはみんなが建てたケンちゃんのお墓なんですみんなケンちゃんのこと許せなかったんですが私がいつまでも泣いているから仕方なくこんな小さなお墓を作ってくれたんですケンちゃんというのは私の幼なじみです7年前この山でいなくなってしまいました生きているのか死んでしまったのかわかりませんがさっちゃんや磯野くんは大嫌いになってしまいましたけれど私は
You're talking about Higuchi Ken, right? I interrupted her tale before she had the chance to finish.
ケンちゃんと初めて出会ったのはあのひまわり畑なんですよケンちゃん私のリボン褒めてくれてすごい嬉しかったんですぼーっと街の外を眺めながら帰ってこないかなってずっと思ってるんですでもちょっと嫌になってしまいました私はいつもビクビクして人の顔色を伺って友達もいなくなって嘘をつくようにもなってしまってリボンもヨレヨレになってしまいましたしだから今日お花を添えることにしたんです今まで何度もここに来ては何もしないで帰っていたんですがもういいかなって何もかもつまんなくて夏が来て風が吹いて暑くなって毎日学園に通って 何か面白いことありますか？だってたとえケンちゃんが帰ってきたとしても、私はこんな義務を持った私なんかきっと嫌われちゃう。
The girl's lamentations disperse into the evening mists.
すいませんね。いきなり気持ち悪いこと言ってしまって。嫌ですよね。不幸をアピールしてるみたいで。気持ち悪いですね。
She laughed without humor. She laughed without hope.
というより、別に不幸じゃないし、もっと大変な人だっているのに。勝手に自慢してるし。帰りましょう。今日はどもどもでした。
Natsumi began to descend the mountain, a cloud of uncertainty hanging around her. She paid me no heed. Suddenly, the cell phone in my case rang. It was a disposable cell phone provided by Pops. This was the first time I had occasion to use it. I hurriedly took it out and answered the call. This is Morita.
緊張かつ重要な指示を出す。
Yes.
日向夏美の監督を一度解任する。
Dismissed? I object. Please explain your reasoning.
お前は過去に日向夏美と接点があるゆえ、主軍に支障をきたすと判断した。
So that was what he was up to yesterday, examining our past.
代わりに光弘幸の監督に就任してもらう。
You're probably aware of this, but I have had contact with Sachi in the past as well.
分かっている。
He was entrusting her supervision to me regardless. I failed to understand why Sachi was fine, but Natsumi was not.
優先順位だよ、森田。
He adopted a gentle attitude with me for the first time in many years.
光弘幸、大根十日、日向夏美の順に保護観察を任せていく。すべて構成させることができれば、お前は晴れて特別高等人というわけだ。
He had to give a third-rate person like me a thorough explanation after all. Understood. I will begin immediately.
努力しろ。私は森田健一を高く買っている。
It was out of character for Pops to offer such a cheap compliment. I ended the call and approached the makeshift grave. I reached down and plucked the dried flower. Knowing you, you've probably already figured it out, but I have to say it. I am Higuchi Ken. I know, I mean, come on. You said it like 5 minutes into the game, dude. I know. That's chapter 1, sirs. That's why I didn't want to continue yesterday on the last episode, because I know that would take quite a bit. Now, since I barely even reached 1 hour, I'm probably gonna play a bit more of chapter 2. I cannot afford to waste my time making money. How crazy. But also true. The view from the cliffs make my town appear quite calm. The starlight from above and artificial light from below mingle in the air, painting the landscape before me in radiant silver. Long ago, before the existence of special high-class individuals, all criminals were burdened with the obligation to work in the mines of this town. Because of this, many of us are descended from criminals, and thus, many residents of this town continue to bear obligations. I live together with my father and older sister. My father has always called himself an adventurer. He's an eccentric sort of guy who likes making jokes all the time. He's only once held a serious discussion with me. He was to tell me that my sister and I are not related by blood. Things were different from the start, since my household has had more than one mother. You see, one day, a woman suddenly arrived at my motherless home. She was very kind and would pat my head all the time. She spoiled me so much, I felt certain that that was what having a real mother was like. I remember her as being elegant, someone who would hide her teeth while smiling. She would help me with my studies and even bought me toys. But after a month, she suddenly disappeared. I was sad, but a new mother arrived soon thereafter. She was very young, only a bit older than my older sister. She felt more like a sister than a mother. I was kinda nervous, but with two older sisters around and all. She would hang out with my older sister and they would both play with me. She must have been pretty smart, because whenever we played hide and seek in the mountains, we never managed to catch her. When it was my turn to find everyone, I would start crying because I couldn't find her. Then she'd appear from a treetop or something and laugh at me, calling me a crybaby. She wasn't a bad person. Whenever she would tidy up my father's room or pour his drinks, she looked extremely fulfilled. I felt happier just by looking at her. Over time, a variety of women came and went. Women with different eye and skin colors. Sometimes I even had two mothers at once. Inundated. What does that mean? Overwhelm someone with things to deal with, I guess. Okay. Overwhelm, basically. A lot. Inundated by the shower of mothers, I soon forgot who had been our real mothers. All of them were extremely kind, always singing my father's praises. Above all, they seemed to possess a deep happiness. My sister didn't seem very surprised when she found out that we weren't related by blood. Rather, she seemed delighted. She formed her beautiful lips into a grin, and said she'd play with me even more from now on. I'd always thought that she rivaled my father for eccentricity. She was short and thin, but extremely cool and clever. One time, one of the old ladies of the neighborhood said something to us. "You poor little things, having such a philandering father." I had no idea what she meant. Even though I had no mother, I'd never felt lonely. My sister shielded me with her back, determination in her eyes, as I stood there silently.
決めつけないでください。
My sister's name is Ririko. I've always been bad with kanji, so I used to think that she was named Ririko because she was so dignified. Ririshi. However, though that was not the case, she embodied the spirit of the word nonetheless.
母親がいない家庭が不幸だというのは、あなた方が勝手に思い込んでいるご立派な常識というものです。家に遊びに来る女性はいつも笑顔です。放浪癖のある父がとても素敵で、血のつながっていない弟が可愛いのです。あなた方に心配されなくても、夏は毎年巡ってきて、新しいお母さんはまたやってきて、幸せな食卓が出来上がります。常識に頼らなくても、私たちは何も困りません。
Now that I think about it, it seems that my sister was almost always shielding me. When I would come home after being bullied at school, or when a barking dog would make me cry, my sister's back was always there for me. Whenever I felt ashamed of myself and went crying to her, she would always show me her dazzling smile.
いつか、ケンが私の前に立って、私を守るんだよ。ケンの背中が頼もしく思える日が来るといいね。
She told me she liked me so often that it was almost embarrassing. In particular, she would always tell me that my back was beautiful. I liked her too, but I had the vague feeling that it would be wrong to express this. As such, my feelings for her became hazy, became impossible for me to put into words. Regardless of what I did or didn't feel toward her, she would always come wake me up at night when I was feeling troubled. Oh shit, I remember this part.
気持ちのいいことをしてあげようか。
Probably gonna skip that. Remember guys, this is a hentai game. They need to put this somewhere, right? Ririko herself was truly a troubled individual. I felt a vague sense of apprehension about the future as I laid down to sleep. I didn't want to blame my sister for anything, but I had the feeling that I wouldn't be able to deal well with sexual situations if this kept up.
ずっと、ケンと一緒にいられると楽しいね。
I thought so too. And thus, I sank into depression when she announced that she was going to a college in the city. Ririko was the only person in my life who I had been able to open up to. My father was rarely around, so I was lonely too. I was so lucky to have met Natsumi and become friends with her. Thanks to her, I also became friends with Sachan and Isono-kun.
夏が来て暑くなって少しだけ雨が降って田んぼは青々しくて風が吹くと緑の匂いがしてケンちゃんみたいな友達がいて何にも変わらないけれどそれだけでもいいんだよ。
I'll probably never forget those words of hers. However, one day, my life was changed forever. Everyone lost their families and I ran crying from the town by myself. So, the part where I skipped there, it wasn't exactly any, we didn't actually have sex with Ririko. We were just given a hand job. Yeah, it's still fucked up, but, hentai game, they needed to put that somewhere. I think without that scene, the game would still be very nice. Be very good. That's why I'm probably gonna get rid of that. Gonna edit that out. For people that want to know, I'm just gonna say it, She just gave us a hand job. I informed Natsumi of my dismissal upon my descent from the mountain. She did naught but nod, a blank expression on her face. I received Sachi's records from the old man the next day. I scanned through them, searching for material that would prove essential in the management of her supervision. Mitsuhiro Sachi. Her personality assessment was in line with my expectations. Though she appeared sociable and pleasant on the surface, she was in fact inclined toward egocentrism. She conducted herself with great energy, but lacked foresight. She was not suited for long-term projects. She was also lazy and fickle. The next bit detailed her personal abilities. I decided to note the more interesting portions. IQ, 140. Logical thinking capacity, below average. Motor skills, high. I see. Hobbies, foreign exchange program. Though she was probably turning some profit there. I was surprised by what I discovered under the accomplishments category. She had been the 141st Kitajima Hideyoshi Prize winner. Kitajima Hideyoshi, I believe that's the name of an expert landscape painter. I was even more surprised when I found that she had received the award 8 years ago. In other words, she had already won a highly esteemed painting award while we were playing together as children. I had no idea. Though, if I thought about it, she had certainly always had the scent of paint around her. And from time to time, she would vehemently reject all invitations to play. However, it seems that she had given up on painting at some point. It was time to get down to business. I read the details of and reasoning behind her obligation. I see. I know you hate overly complicated explanations, so I'll just outline the main points for you. After Sachi's parents died in the rebellion that occurred in his town, Sachi was left with no living relatives. With no one to take care of her, she accumulated a debt of her living expenses. She ended up becoming addicted to internet gambling due to the attempts to pay the debt off. I could actually understand that super well because my brother was also kind of addicted to internet gambling for a time. As you can imagine, it was all downhill from there. People whose debts are their own fault, such as those who accrued said debts through gambling, are not allowed to declare bankruptcy, so in exchange for exoneration of the debt, she was burdened with restriction of available time. That was about 2 years ago. If what I've heard is true, then the restriction of available time obligation will be lifted as long as the bearer makes an earnest effort toward honest work. Once someone learns the importance of money, they will also understand the importance of the time spent to earn it. Hourly wages mean that you can get paid based on how long you work. In other words, employment is about changing time into money. However, Sachi never found gainful employment. It seemed that she hadn't always been restricted to 12 hours a day. 22 hours, 20 hours, 18 hours. The punishment had grown heavier as time wore on. Apparently, she had never viewed earning money as anything other than entertainment. This could be a pain. I put the records back into my case and thought about what to do with her. I sighed. I visited Sachi's room the next morning.
Mori-ken-chan!
Oh, Sachi, you alone? Mana didn't seem to be sleeping in a closet like usual.
夏美の監督に忙しいんじゃないの？
Well, about that,
どうしたの？またなんかひどい目にあったり？
she must have been talking about when Pops messed me up. I've been assigned the duty of supervising your obligation.
嘘！マジで？
She looked ecstatic. You're to call me Sensei from now on.
やだ！
She was disobeying me right off the bat. Hey, listen. We can't consider each other friends anymore, you know?
なんで？
I'm a special high-class individual. The type of person who would make a crying baby shut up. One of this country's highest elites. If you call me Mori-ken, isn't that sort of undermining my authority?
権力を持った途端に表変するなんてダサいよ。
Don't give me that. You're aware that I have the right to invade your privacy and govern your very life and death.
プライバシー？
She started laughing.
一緒に4日も暮らしておいてプライバシーも何もあったもんじゃないでしょ？
Shut up and respect me, damn it.
すごいダメ上司っぷり。
I've had enough out of you. Further mocking will result in terrible punishment.
どんな？
I'll rape you. Yeah, sure, Kenichi, sure.
恥ずかしいなら言わなきゃいいのに。
Sorry.
とにかく森健は森健でいいじゃん。
She had decided to take me lightly. However, this didn't bother me. It was actually for the best that she felt this way toward me at the beginning. You act like you think you're the only person in the world.
そんなことないけどね。あんまり他の人とか気にしない派だよ。
An attitude like that proved my point, albeit in a roundabout manner. People like her generally didn't even try to acknowledge others or their accomplishments. Whatever the case, being taken lightly like this would make my job easier.
まあまあまあ。私はちゃんと薬飲むからさ。
My job is to lead you to a life where you don't have to take that medicine.
どうすれば自由になれるの？
Work. One word was all it took.
やだ。
I was shot down in an instant. Stop screwing around like with this foreign exchange crap and at least try to get an honest job.
学園があるし。
We're on vacation, right now, right? Come on, give it a try. Just during the summer is fine.
私って親いないからさ。親戚もいないし、頼れる友達もいないかわいそうな少女だからさ。
Certainly, I understood her circumstances. However,
森健がちょっとおとなしくなった。森健ってクールな顔してやっぱり感動系でしょ。
the emotional type.
なんか無駄に情に脆いの。キモいの。でもブームなの。
Would you please speak like a normal human being?
だから要するに優しいってことよ。
She nodded, a deep conviction shining forth from her face.
というわけで私を自由にしてよ。
I can't do that.
そう言って本当は最後にはどうにかしてくれるくせに。
She had the idea that my personality was whatever she found convenient at the time. You're never going to be set free with an attitude like that.
だって働くなんてめんどくさいじゃん。今の世の中コツコツ努力しても報われないってば。
I can't say I disagree with that. Have you ever done any of this hard work before?
ないよ。
You're hopeless.
それを教え導くのが特別高等人でしょ。
You impudent little...
森健に私がどうにかできるかな。
It appeared that my work would be quite lengthy. After this exchange, I read her the Miranda-esque stuff and officially commenced my term of duty as Sachi's supervisor. Sachi was at her computer. God damn it, stop looking at stocks!
ケイイチ
Hey Mana, nice timing. Tell Sachi about how important working is. Mana cocked her head to the side in thought and plopped herself down next to Sachi. Hey, don't ignore me.
お姉ちゃんの邪魔しちゃダメだよ
Disturbing.
うるさくしたら怒られるんだよ
What the heck? A little talking won't kill her.
ダメ黙って見てるの
Just watching her isn't fun, is it?
いいのマナ寝ないの
I think that may have been the first time I ever saw Sachi communicate with Mana.
まだ起きてるよあ、そう
Their exchange lacked warmth.
じゃあ洗濯してくれる
Mana headed out to the laundry room connected to the dorm. You know, I can do the laundry if you need it taken care of.
いいよマナがやるから
Then how about I clean up the room?
それもマナの仕事になったから
Yeah, but since you're letting me stay here again, I feel like I should...
だから全部マナがやるから平気だって
Sachi clearly held a great deal of negativity toward Mana. I could probably guess the reason why, but... Sachi, I have a question for you.
後でいいかな今ちょっと秒単位で忙しそうだから
Alright, I'll ask Mana instead.
何さ
Apparently, she had been able to infer that my question pertained to the nature of their relationship. You're not really sisters, correct?
なんで
You look completely different,
義理の妹だよ
even though she doesn't have a family register.
そうなんだ
You don't look so cheerful.
あの子は拾ったの
When? From where?
雪の降る夜教会で
Still feel like you're joking around, eh?
まあねなんか勘違いしてるみたいだから言っておくけどさマナのこと別に嫌いってことはないからね
Hate.
今まで思ってたでしょ仲が悪いから顔を合わさないんだって
It's not really it. Rather, it seems like you're just treating her like a burden.
どういう意味
You picked her up after that rebellion, didn't you? After all, many people lost their parents around that time. I don't know why you picked her up to begin with, but you eventually grew wary of raising her. It took money after all.
違うってば何よ人を鬼畜みたいにさ
I apologize if I'm mistaken. But I have a pretty twisted personality, you see. I always try to look at things from a negative light.
お洗濯してきたよご苦労さん
And that was the first time I had seen Sachi look so depressed. Because we're probably spot on, I suppose. Like I said, my thoughts right now on the story, at least in Sachi right now, I basically don't remember most things that's going on, so don't look too much into it. Like, I don't even know if what I'm saying is the truth or not. So think of it as me playing this blind even though it's not technically blind, right? Because I actually don't remember whether she actually hates Mana or not. Evening had come. Mana was sleeping inside the closet. Sachi, shouldn't you try to get some sleep in before 7?
寝るの忘れてた
Were the price fluctuations that violent today?
いやなんか楽しくてね
I get the feeling that you'd just be sitting here all day if not for school.
誰だろう
Sachi blinked in surprise at the sound of the knock, then went to open the door.
こんにちは
Ah!
人の顔を見るや規制を上げるなんて失礼じゃないかな
No, it was a greeting.
なるほどさすが親友
何しに来たの
いえそれなりに暇でしたのでサチさんと性交渉でもさせていただこうかと
What?
高いよ
というのは冗談でして例の件をお調べいたしましたので進呈しにまかり越しました
He took a variety of tattered papers out of his handbag.
でかした
はは
What are you guys talking about?
だいぶ骨が折れましたよでもバッチリだと思います
What's that? Some old documents?
よくわかるね。そう。あんたも知っての通り、この町の郷土史だよ。
No one knew that.
この町には古くから頭のおかしい人たちが住んでいてね。あったった。俺やあんたのことじゃないぜ。
Are you trying to imitate me or something?
どっかの酔狂な人が山の洞窟に財宝を隠したって噂があるんだ。
A rumor, not a legend?
察しがいいね。伝説になるほど昔の話じゃないんだ。
Ho ho. Sachi had asked me about caving once, hadn't she? It couldn't be.
よし森健
It could be.
今こそ止めてあげた恩を返すべきだよ
Her eyes sparkled.
すでに洞窟装備は整えてありますよ。
Let me see that map you've got there. I released Sachi of the raggedy parchment. Hey, you're gonna kill yourself if you go into that cave.
なんで
This map is way too vague. Only the entrance is actually drawn out.
入り口が分かればいいじゃん
Will you be able to survey the cavern yourself? There's a very real possibility of dying if you get lost inside.
んなもん森健がやればいいじゃん
What if there are pits inside? Even an energetic type won't be able to get around them without knowing the proper techniques.
それも森健の仕事だって
Not even I could help you if there were a pool that required diving.
森田くんの辞書に不可能はないんじゃないのか。
I'm a downtown Napoleon.
よくわからないけど切ないね。
I also don't understand what that means. Besides, that rumor is obviously BS. You're not gonna find anything, even if you go to the trouble of exploring that cave from top to bottom. Hell, if it is real, somebody else probably got to it already.
もう森健ってば超ネガティブなんだから
It's called risk management.
絶対行くんだからね森健も私のこと好きなら協力してよね
Love you? Are you still going on about that?
というかもう付き合ってるんじゃないのか。同棲して何日目だ。
そうだよそうだよ周りから見たら絶対付き合ってるって
I thought you didn't care what anyone else thought.
へへ
She tried to laugh it off.
森田くん頼む。この僕がこれだけ頭を下げてもダメなのか。
Aw, kinda strange that Isono is the one that... that's like, wanting us to go there instead of Well, Sachi wants us to go there, but... why does Isono want us to go there? You call this prostrating? The money-grubbing Sachi I can understand. But why are you so eager about this? There we go, exactly. Isono swooped up his bangs.
樋口三郎は知ってるよな。
Yeah, he was the mastermind behind the rebellion.
僕はあの人の大ファンでね、よく教えを受けてたんだよ。どうしたの？オチがわからない？あれ？森田くんならここまで話せば、僕がどうして財宝発掘に固執するのかが読めると思ったのに。
I zoned out for a bit. So the treasure in that cave was supposedly left there by Higuchi Saburo.
燃えてきたでしょ。
Sure as hell did. Isono, let me give you a warning. Higuchi Saburo was a traitor who dragged this country into war. The worst level of criminal. It would be best if you never spoke respectfully of him again. Especially in front of a special high-class individual.
そういえば、森田くんは国家の犬候補生だったね。
Hey!
冗談だよ。このトークは僕の勝ちだね。
The hell are you talking about?
本気になった方が負け。若者の世の中じゃ何でもそうだよ。
That's true. Well, I wouldn't say the world of the youth. I think it's like, I think that even applies when you're an adult. I think, well, depending on the context, right? If both of them are serious, then the one who's seriouser is probably the winner. But when you're like having a chill conversation and then suddenly someone is more serious than you, that guy is probably like, you know, he got the bait. He got baited basically, right? What an irksome world it had become.
でどうすんの私を無視しないで
I've been clenching my fists without realizing it. I'll go.
やっぱ最後には優しいね
I did my utmost to contain my excitement while Sachi cackled on. dad's inheritance, I would find it.
いつ洞窟探検に行くの？
I accompanied Mana to the supermarket as usual. We have to prepare first, so in about 3 days, I guess.
マナも行っていい？
You have work at the supermarket, don't you?
あ、そうか。
She looked disappointed. I'll bring you a souvenir.
うん。
She was depressed. It was almost time for Mana's shift, but she didn't enter the store. Is working here fun?
楽しいよ。
The carefree smile of a child. I thought her depression had arisen from the prospect of dealing with the manager. I say that typo. But it seemed that was not the case.
寂しいなって。
What will be?
お姉ちゃんとケンイチにしばらく会えなくなるのが。
We won't be gone that long.
うん。でも、寂しいよ。
It looked like nothing I could say would help.
マナね、スーパーから帰ってきてね。お姉ちゃんのね、お顔を見るのが楽しみなの。
I see. Her face is pretty when she sleeps, isn't it?
お姉ちゃんね、絵を描くときもあんな顔なんだよ。
Does Sachi still paint? Her mood lit up. I see. She probably wasn't actually painting.
お姉ちゃん、マナが寝てるうちに描いてるって。
That was clearly a lie.
だからマナはたくさん寝るんだよ。
Sachi was just sleeping at school herself while Mana was asleep.
マナね、お姉ちゃんの絵が大好き。
Mana, it's about time. I felt awkward, so I urged her in the direction of the store with my chin.
あ、遅刻しちゃうね。
Go get him. I pushed her forward. I don't know how long Sachi and Mana have known each other, but exactly how many lies has Sachi been telling Mana? And I don't know if they're lies for Mana's sake, or Sachi's own sake, or if Mana is just misunderstanding things. I wish I could go ask for your opinion right about now. I'd really like to believe that Sachi's lying for Mana's sake. Sachi's sleeping face, huh? I stared at her. Her serene expression and unmoving eyebrows elicited an entirely different impression than her usual demeanor. I wondered if Sachi ever made this face while she was awake. Want to go out with me? That face of hers had looked pretty serious when she had said that. Was she really serious about liking me? And why am I saving the game even though I already know what I'm gonna choose? Well, it's unrelated to work anyway. I only have to worry about her until 7 p.m. My job didn't look too difficult. I just had to make sure she took her medicine. That's right. I gasped. I needed to check up on Sachi's medication. What she had used tonight looked like a different type than before. Pops had probably provided her with the newest brand. It still wouldn't ease her fatigue, of course, but it would probably cut down on the negative side effects. Medication that halts one's activity for 12 hours at a time. It would be best to fill out an application for another set while I was at it. It would most likely be necessary. I turned on the PC and sent an email to a medical specialist. Well then, time to have a smoke and examine those documents some more. I left, holding my case. The trail of a shooting star lingered in the sky above me. The croaking of frogs intruded upon my ears, and mosquitoes intruded upon my flesh. The chill of the night wind had all but evaporated. Summer had finally hit the town in full force. I'll do a bit more, just because I actually skipped that scene with, Ruriko. Maybe not a full day, but I'll do a bit more. Morning had come. And so she was off to sleep once more. She sure had a lot of energy, being that loud in the morning. She was even annoying while she slept. Welcome home. Mana paused to look at Sachi's face. Yeah, she woke up a minute ago and then fell right back to sleep.
そっか。
Sachi's sleeping face was quite disheveled, in contrast to her state while stopped.
マナも寝る。
Alrighty. Mana went into the closet. If what Mana had said was true, then Sachi would paint while Mana was asleep. But come noon, Sachi still had not awoken. I compared the old documents Sasuno had found with a current map of Mount Morita. The mountain itself was quite large, and a great deal of cavern dotted its face. I could map out the entrance area of our particular cavern in my head pretty easily, but its depths presented a fair deal of mystery. If the treasure truly existed, it would have to be in an area no one had explored before. I had already acquired some survey data from the town regarding previously excavated caverns on the mountain. I tried to envision the inside of the cavern after calculating its azimuth and slope distance. It didn't seem to be terribly difficult to explore. It was more a tunnel than a cave. SRT equipment and the like would probably be not necessary. And the best part was that there were no flooded portions. Of course, it wouldn't exactly be a sightseeing tour, and there was always the possibility that our cave could be much steeper than others. And I would have to leave behind my Duralumin case. I went ahead and pocketed its most dangerous contents while Sachi was still asleep. Now, I've just gotta get the equipment together and report to Pops. My busy afternoon had just begun.
あ、森田健一じゃない。
Somebody called my name. Who are you again?
ぶっ殺すぞ。
森田くん、調子はどう？
お母さん、こんなやつ放っておいて帰ろうよ。
どうして？あなた森田くんに会いたがってたじゃない。
Did you need something?
別に用事なんてないよ。
嘘言いなさい。何かあると森田くんの話をするでしょ？
Once I understood the situation, I crossed my arms and spoke my mind. You really do like me, don't you?
バカ！
I brushed her aside as she moved forward to whack me.
ちょっと
She seemed dissatisfied with the way things had played out.
今のは殴られるもんでしょ
I thought I told you. I'm no good with this wacky romantic comedy stuff.
か
Mother, I believe your child is somewhat unstable.
そうね。
Kyoko-san laughed.
お母さんも変に煽らないでよ。
Ah, what a beautiful mother-daughter relationship they had. Well then, I have some shopping to do.
待ってよ。
What is it?
そういえば森田健一ってお金持ってるの？
そうね。木の実木のままやってきたって感じがするわね。
小汚いよね。
ワイルドなのよ。
残飯とか漁ってそう。
確かに何でも残さず食べそうね。
Just what the hell was going on here? They were asking me crap without bothering to wait for a response from the person in question. I happen to be rich.
嘘だ。
あら、そうなの？
Kyoko-san, would you like to get married?
嘘でも嬉しいわ。
お母さん、森田健一と一緒にふざけないで。
I refuse to accept you as my daughter though, Toka. I'll send you to an orphanage. What the fuck?
ぶっ殺すぞ。
This guy's so crazy, dude. Sorry about that. I almost counterattacked with some Shaolin style.
もういい。
Apparently, she had realized that her romantic comedy approach was not going to work. Anyway, it's about time for me to get going.
待ちなさいって。
What is it?
サチの部屋に住んでるらしいじゃないの。
え？本当なの？
ねえ、不純だよね。学園生にあるまじき行為だよね。
知らなかったわ。
You'd rather that I sleep outside?
どこかの民宿でも借りればいいじゃない。金持ちなんでしょ。
This town doesn't have any hotels, since there are no sightseeing locales or anything.
確かにそうね。あまり外から人が来ることはないわね。
でも一軒くらいあるでしょ。
あったかしら。
ほら、あの2丁目の。
あそこは潰れたそうね。
じゃあ山のふもとにある。
あれはとっくに ただの小屋になってるでしょ。
She seemed vexed.
どうか、そういえば買い物袋は？
I bet you forgot all about it and left it sitting right next to the register.
多分レジ。
Hey, sometimes I do that too. Can't really blame her. You left it right in front of the cashier? Oh.
取ってくるね。
One dashed off. Guess I should be going too.
森田くん待ちなさい。
What is it? Man, asking people to wait must run in your family.
光弘さんと暮らしてるって？
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not doing anything indecent. It's part of my job.
ああ、そうなの。試験の一環なら仕方がないわね。
Kyoko-san offered her consent without a second thought as soon as I mentioned my job. She really embodied the public opinion of special high-class individuals. People tended to view us as a sort of black box.
どんな試験なの？
Kyoko-san seemed interested in me for some reason. It's a student-teacher kind of thing. I'm actually just supervising Sachi.
そう。私もね、この夏は研修に行かなければならないかもしれなくてね。
Are you referring to the parental authority qualification training?
ええ。
I could understand why she looked so concerned. The parental authority qualification training was basically a test that judged whether or not a person qualified to serve as a parental figure. The parent of any child bearing the prohibition of becoming an adult obligation was required to participate in this training. I didn't know what exactly the training entailed, but I had heard rumors of casualties arising from it. But you can just have Toka vouch for you and get an exemption, right?
そうね。あの子が私が母親であることに満足してくれていればきっと大丈夫だわ。
Don't worry about it. I'll let you in on a little secret. The PAQT requires a huge budget to run effectively, so they rarely actually bother with it. It involves a bunch of procedures requiring the guidance of more important special high-class individuals too.
それを聞いて安心したわ。ありがとう。
Not at all. Happy to help. I finally made my way to the supermarket.
あれれ、お財布落としちゃったかも。
Well, that was some foreshadowing, isn't it? I mean, you guys are gonna pick up on that anyway, right? Not like I have to say something for you guys to not notice that. Some really foreshadowing right there. This girl just didn't let up. When I returned, I found Isona and Sachi looking over the old documents, which were spread across the floor. I'm back. I put the tools for the excavation I had bought down on the floor. We were lucky that there was a shop that sold mountain climbing gear around here.
何買ってきたの？
おいおい、装備なら僕が整えたと言ったじゃないか。
He got all indignant with me.
せっかく勇者たちの冒険の門出を祝ってやろうと思ったのに。
What was that now? What were you going to give me?
銅の剣と革の鎧。
Ah, so you're one of those useless kings.
マグライトにヘルメット、ポシェットにナップザック。あれ？ライトが4個もあるよ。
Reserves.
非常食に包帯に消毒液まであるじゃん。本格的だね。
Of course. It's not like we can just warp out of the dungeon with magic.
これつなぎ？
Yep. You don't have to wear your uniform while we're spelunking. Insulated and water-resistant overalls. Helmets with mounted lights made for cave exploration. LED flashlights. Sachi was a total amateur, so I had spared no expense. My goal was to gather as many helpful tools as possible.
っていうか、今私の担当って森健だよね。別にどっちでもいいけど、普段の服装は自由にしてくれないの？
Sorry, but Pops wouldn't allow it. I didn't know why.
オッケー。しょうがないよね。
You can go ahead and remove your badge and place it on the overalls. This was another instruction from Pops.
別の服を着るなんて久しぶり。
I'd never seen anyone so happy about wearing overalls before. I'll be borrowing this for a bit.
調べ物？
Something like that. I sat down in front of the PC and opened up the browser.
しかし森田くんはかっこいいな。
なんか知らないけど物知りだね。
さすが完全超人を自称するだけのことはある。
何見てんの？
Oh, I'm just partaking in the act of viewing material unrelated to my job while on the internet at work.
遊んでんじゃん。
Exactly. Well, I haven't been part of society for a while, so...
どれどれ？どこのアダルトサイトだ？
MK ストレングスカンパニー、企業の情報サイト？
噂の IT 企業じゃないか。創業から1年半で株式公開したっていう。
Gotta check what's an IPO, huh? Initial public offering, okay. I see. I see.
ああ、叩かれまくってたらしいね。今は退陣したらしいけど、前の社長がとんでもない非常識の変態だって。
これの何が気になるんだい？
Call it a hobby.
そういや森健ってさ、経営の才能があるんだってね。
僕もあるぞ。
ちょっと問題出していい？昔テレビでやってたんだけどさ。
Yes?
あるフリーマーケットでさ、テレビをね、いくらだっけな、100通貨はなんだっけ。
Dollars. Perhaps she was referencing that series. Nah, I didn't recall anything like that.
フリーマーケットで森健の店がね、1台しかないテレビを100ドルで売ろうと思ったら、向かいの店で80ドルで全く同じ質のテレビが1台陳列されてるのよ。
I see. If I don't do something, my TV isn't gonna sell.
簡単じゃないか。70ドルで売ればいいんだ。
No, that's stupid.
森健の店は必ず100ドルで売らなきゃいけないルールね。
Yeah, I already know the answer to this. This is like really basic financing. Or in fact, it's not even financing. If you guys play like any MMOs, you'd know what this is. A mischievous grin came to Isono's face.
わかったよ。
お、早いね。
ドルをバーツに変えればいい。
What the fuck?
ダメ。
I just have to buy their television before their customers have a chance to. After that, I can sell the TV in my own shop for $100. I even make a profit out of it. See, the thing about that though is that you'd have more supply than what the demand might need, right? That's the issue right there. Apparently, I'd given her the model answer.
すごいね。森健って一見ピンチな状況をチャンスに変えられるんだよ。
そもそもフリーマーケットというのはみんなで楽しくやるもんなんです。商売根性なんて見せたらダメなんです。
Everyone in MMOs say the same thing, Isono. Everyone said the same thing. But come on, they just don't understand how money works. That's how it works everywhere, including in games. How immature of him. I ignored Isono's complaints and considered my investigation.
出発は？
The day after tomorrow, we're going to leave as soon as you get up.
そろそろ寝るね。
And with that, I am going to end the episode right here. Chapter 1 was one of my favorites in the game. That's why I still remember it quite vividly. That scene with the grave, I thought something else was gonna happen, but I guess I misremembered. But that was still a very nice scene. This is basically just my conjecture, or it's basically speculation at this point, right? But what I think happened was that Natsumi gave the flower to us, right? Because she thinks that Higuchi Ken, which is her childhood friend, is already gone, and she wants to move away from that, right? Because she saw us, but we're not Higuchi Ken, we're Morita Kenichi. So what she's trying to do there was probably like, you know, trying to move on. Trying to not wait for Higuchi Ken anymore, because we're a living fact that maybe Higuchi-ken is never gonna come back. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Chapter 2, if I remember correctly, is probably my least favorite. But we'll see now if it's going to be my least favorite or not. Because so far it's alright. It feels fast enough. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. I don't think there's much criticism, as I said. I know I keep saying that, but I just want to say that, damn, this visual novel really aged well after like 10 years since I played it. I'll see you guys next time.